We have team coverage tonight. We don't want to get ahead of Sheriff Lott in his news conference. We want to be sure that we share information that we have confirmed, but I can tell you that our Katie McKee is in the Elgin area right now, and she is on a scene near the spot where they had a command post set up last year to search for Gabbie. And as we speak, deputies are there conducting an active search of that area. Katie's not been able to talk with any of those investigators, but we will check in with her live coming up momentarily. Again, Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott expected to have major new developments. The reporters are in the room. They're doing mic checks. We're told that that news conference is going to start at 7:02. Actually, Sheriff Lott stepped to the podium. Let's go straight to him.
In Elgin where he buried Gabbie. At the present time, we're at a location that we're trying to recover her body. This has been 357 days of terror that Gabbie's mother and family have endured, that this community has endured, and it's not the way that we would like this to end it. We'd like to have found Gabbie and brought her home to her mama, but we have some closure. It's a sad day, I'll tell you, very sad. This case has touched a lot of people. I've never seen, a case quite like this that has just grabbed the community and grabbed basically a nation. There's been people all over the world, in the United States, that's been interested in this case. Solicitor Dan Johnson and myself has struggled for a long time now since this case first started. This was a case where it wasn't a whodunit. Almost immediately, we were able to determine that Freddie Grant was the person that was responsible for kidnapping Gabbie. The challenge was that we hadn't found Gabbie. The solicitor and I have had many conversations. We've been in negotiations for quite some time with Freddie's attorneys. We have stood strong on what our offer was. We made an offer to them, and we haven't changed it from day one. We haven't. There was some requests made that we just could not meet, and we were not going to meet. But at a point that this case took a very important turn was when Freddie's daughter Dominique was arrested. That was, I guess, the breaking point as far as to getting Freddie to lead us to where Gabbie was at. So I don't want anybody to think that he did this out of his conscience and where he felt bad for Gabbie or Elvia or this community. He didn't do that. He did it solely because his daughter had been arrested and she was facing some very serious jail time. That's what we needed. We flew to Kentucky today. We took the state airplane to Kentucky. We picked him up in the federal penitentiary, and we brought him back. And he led us to the location right outside the town of Elgin. We're currently there now. We'll be there for quite some time. As Dan and I have struggled with this case, we had to do a lot of soul searching. It was almost that you're making a deal with the devil, and it was tough. But for 20 years, I've watched Dan and Jean Dinwiddie suffer every single day with not knowing. And for the last 357 days, I've seen that same pain in Gabbie's mom, Elvia, on her face and her voice every time I spoke to her. And we were in constant contact with each other. And we both decided that it's best for the community, it's best for Elvia, it's best for everybody that we were able to negotiate what we did come up with, which allowed Freddie to take us out there today and show us where he buried her.
Can you tell me where that is approximately?
Between Elgin and Lugoff.
Did Grant give you any indication as to his motive during this or what he did?
We're not going to go to any of that. What the most important thing is, and what our focus was, and I've said this from day one once we arrested him, was to bring Gabbie home. And that's what we're doing today. We're bringing her home. We're bringing her home to her mother. And as far as motive or anything like that, we're not going to discuss that.
Sheriff, I know, was this search specifically for Gabbie? Did he mention the Florida woman that had been last seen with him, or was this?
We're only dealing with Gabbie at this point. We're dealing strictly with recovery and bringing Gabbie home.
Solicitor, is this a potential death penalty case?
No. No. No, it's not. I mean, under the, obviously I can't speak about the specifics of the negotiation, but no, it would not be.
Is it fair to say that he did what he needed to save his daughter's life in taking Gabbie Swinson's?
I cannot talk about the specifics of any of those negotiations or characterize, what he did or why he did.
Just so y'all understand, the solicitor's bound by some things I'm not bound by. As a prosecutor, there's certain things that he can't talk about. And it's not that he doesn't want to tell you, it's just we want to make sure this is done completely legal and there's no loopholes, there's no problem whatsoever. He's standing up here with me because this is something we've worked on together. This was a joint thing. I couldn't do it by myself, he couldn't do it by himself, but together we've been able to reach the point we're at right now. And like I said earlier, this is a very difficult point for us to reach. We struggled. We struggled a lot to get where we're at, but I can't say it's anything successful about it. But the point was that I promised LV a long time ago we were going to bring Gabbie home, and that's what we've done today.
Your deputies are on the search site. Can you tell us about any other agencies that are assisting?
From the very beginning, we've had FBI, SLED's assisted us, Kershaw County, Elgin. At the scene, we're processing the scene, Richland County. The Sheriff's Department in Kershaw County has basically turned it over to us. The jurisdiction for the case, since she was kidnapped in Richland County, carries over. And it's the same judicial circuit, so there's no problems there. But we're processing the scene, and with assistance of, our people are basically handling it. But Kershaw County's there with us also.
How large is this area that you guys were searching and are searching now?
Right now, it's just a grave site, so it's very small.
Have you found anything there that indicates she truly is there?
Yes.
Can you tell us what?
No. No, but I would not be standing up here if I wasn't confident enough to say that she's there, and I wouldn't have went and talked to Elvia and told her that if I wasn't confident enough. That's one thing I wanted to make sure, that we didn't put her through any more pain, in this community through any more pain. So hopefully this is a chapter in this sad case is now over, and we'll start a new one, and that's the healing process. I will tell you, she's a very strong woman. She believes in her faith. She has her pastors with her, and they're going to be with her throughout, and that's what she's relying on to get through this right now.
Again, Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott holding a news conference saying that they have found Gabbie Swinson's body in the Elgin area, apparently an area where deputies and even cadaver dogs searched many times. But he says because of the way that Freddie Grant dug the grave and concealed it, it was just impossible for them to find without Grant taking them to the site himself. According to Sheriff Leon Lott, deputies actually went to Kentucky, where Grant was in a federal prison on federal ammunition charges, picked him up around 9:30 this morning. By 2:45 this afternoon, they had landed back in the Columbia area, and by 4:30 this afternoon, he had taken them to the spot where Gabbie was buried. The sheriff said that he promised Gabbie's mother, Elvia Swinson, months ago that he would find her daughter. He just was hoping and praying it would not be like this. That is in the Elgin area, which happens to be near the command post where they were searching almost a year ago to this day. That is where our Katie McKee is. She's been there live throughout the afternoon.
In the last hour and a half that we've been here, we've seen multiple cop cars coming in and out of the area. If you see all the way down there, there's more than a dozen that seem to still be searching for what we heard were remains. It's unfortunate that they found her out here today. However, I talked to someone who works at the plant next door, said that she saw them out here at 11 a.m. this morning, which backs up the timeline, that Grant was flown in here from Kentucky and that he was showing investigators where, in fact, Gabbie's body was. Now, we were told that they have searched this area multiple times. They were out here and had a command post set up, and they were searching for her right after she disappeared almost a year ago. As soon as we get any more details about what's going on out here, we'll let you guys know. Back to you, Judy.
All right, Katie McKee out on the scene there with our photographer Jessica Salibi. As they get new information, we will share it with you. Let's check in with Jennifer Emmert. She's in our newsroom. And Jennifer, you have followed this case over the last year as well. Bring us up to date on the angle that you're covering tonight.
Well, Judy, 10 days from now will mark 1 year since Gabbie went missing, sparking that community-wide search for the teen. Her mother, Elvia Swainson, reported her daughter missing the morning of August 18th last year. A week later, Richland County deputies announced Freddie Grant as a person of interest. Grant was the boyfriend then of Elvia Swainson. After obtaining a search warrant, Richland County deputies say they found Gabbie's DNA, including blood on duct tape, inside Grant's Elgin home and in the junkyard across the railroad tracks from Grant's home. That's also when investigators discovered the ammo that Grant's daughter claims was hers. That allowed law enforcement to arrest him on probation violations. He's only been charged with kidnapping up until now in Gabbie's death, or in her disappearance. Since then, he has been all but silent in what he knows about Gabbie's disappearance. And of course, we want to also point out that he has filed an appeal in his federal case on those ammunition charges. In the newsroom, Jennifer Emmert, WIS News 10.
All right, Jennifer, thank you so much. Sheriff Leon Lott pointed out, and Solicitor Dan Johnson at that news conference with him today. For both of them, they say this has been very difficult over the last several months, saying that they have been in tough negotiations with Freddie Grant and his attorneys. As Jennifer mentioned there, Grant has not at all been cooperative during this investigation. And so Sheriff Lott says it was very difficult for them as they tried to get information from him about where Gabbie was and where they could find her, about what to negotiate, what to take off the table, what to leave on the table. But Sheriff Grant did point out, Sheriff Lott, I should say, did point out that Grant will still be charged with murder. He says the big breaking point in this case was when Freddie Grant's daughter, Dominique Grant, was arrested. So you can assume that there's some kind of deal negotiated there, but that was the big motivation that Freddie Grant had to finally cooperate and take them to the place where Gabbie's body is buried. Let's now check in with our Megan Norman, who has made her way outside of the news conference. And Megan, this is just the news that nobody wanted to hear, but as Sheriff Lott mentioned, Gabbie's mother is a strong woman. She is a woman of faith, and this will at least give her an opportunity to lay her daughter to rest.
Absolutely, Judy. As you heard during the press conference, Sheriff Lott says the main objective this entire time for almost the last year was to bring Gabbie home to her mother, and that is what deputies have done today. Now, as you mentioned earlier, this is months of negotiations. This is the result. And Lott said that during these negotiations, it's been like making a deal with the devil. And the one thing that really persuaded Freddie Grant to cooperate with investigators now is the fact that his daughter was facing some pretty serious charges after deputies say she disposed of Gabbie's cell phone behind a Piggly Wiggly in Myrtle Beach. Now, Lott also indicated that the search site was a site that they, as deputies, have searched before. And he says that he said, quote, he failed her. He failed in trying to find her, but it was because of how Freddie Grant had disposed of the body, and that he had covered up the grave in such a way that it was difficult for anyone to be able to locate her. But again, he says that Gabbie is finally home. Judy?
Solicitor Dan Johnson said he could not give any specifics about whatever this deal with the devil is that they have made with Freddie Grant. Right. But he says he does expect it to go to court soon.
Yes, he couldn't give us a date, but what he could say is that the death penalty is not on the table in this case.
All right, but again, Sheriff Leon Lott pointed out that Freddie Grant will in fact be charged with murder. Sheriff Lott also indicated that Freddie Grant is not been taken back to Kentucky, but is in the Columbia area. He didn't say specifically where, but he did say that he will be taken back to the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center as this case moves forward. In case you're just joining us, Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott holding a news conference at 7 o'clock tonight to announce the fact that Gabbie Swainson's body has been found, the Richland County teenager who disappeared nearly a year ago. The man who is accused of kidnapping and killing her, Freddie Grant, was flown in from a Kentucky prison earlier today and took deputies to the place where he admitted that he buried Gabbie's body. This is what Sheriff Leon Lott had to say just a few minutes ago.
At a location that we're trying to recover her body. This has been 357 days of terror that Gabbie's mother and family have endured, that this community has endured. And it's not the way that we would like this to end it. We'd like to have found Gabbie and brought her home to her mama, but we have some closure.
Well, again, you hear Sheriff Leon Lott there making that announcement today, and as he mentioned, they were hoping that they would find Gabbie alive, and he said that they failed in not getting her back to her mother, but that he hopes that the healing process can begin now. Now, Sheriff Lott also pointed out today that the man that he has previously referred to as a monster, and even today he said reaching this agreement to finally get this information out of Freddie Grant was like making a deal with the devil. He says that he did not do this out of the goodness of his heart. Sheriff Lott says that the big break in this case came after Dominique Grant was arrested several months ago. I believe it was back in the May time frame. Elvia Swainson was in church and came out startled and surprised to see that she had a missed call from her daughter's cell phone. Investigators, of course, immediately started tracking it down. They located it in Myrtle Beach, and they were able to connect Dominique Grant to that phone. So she is now charged in the case. She is in jail at the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center as well. But Sheriff Lott says it was because of that arrest that they were finally able to convince Freddie Grant to cooperate and to take them to the site where Gabbie was buried. And he also pointed out, a lot of people talking about this on social media, that it is so sad that they searched the very area where Gabbie's body is now being recovered. That area has been searched many times by search parties, by deputies, by cadaver dogs. This is video from our crew who is at that scene right now. But Sheriff Lott says because of the way that the grave was dug and because of the way that it was concealed, it was simply impossible to identify it and locate it without Grant himself taking them to that location. Sheriff Matthews is now talking about this case. Let's go straight to him.
Grant with them, and that he was taking them to a location where he said he had buried the young lady. He was kind of giving me a heads up, and I asked him if it was going to be in Kershaw County. He didn't know where it was going to be, but he said he would contact me later. So he called me around 4:30, told me where it was, and obviously we came over. It's their investigation. We talked about whether or not the murder part should be prosecuted in Kershaw County or not. I spoke with Solicitor Johnson, and the decision had pretty much been made that it could legally be prosecuted in Richland County. This is the same judicial circuit as Richland County, so it'll be prosecuted over there. This was a Richland County case from the get-go. We were pretty much support them whatever they needed. Sheriff Lott and I have no turf battle issues, so we cooperate quite well together. And I just said, whatever you need from us, we'll be happy to accommodate you. So right now, we have some deputies up there making sure that curious onlookers don't get in the way, and we've provided them a backhoe to help in the digging process. So they are, at this time, they are continuing to dig, and they have found something. Yeah.
Found a body.
Yes, they have found a body.
Sheriff, one of the things that strikes me as so odd, and I know you've been in this area a long time. This is very close to a major roadway.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Elgin.
It's a heavily wooded area, and this area has been searched thoroughly on foot by Richland deputies, our deputies, by other SLED, FBI, and so forth. Cadaver dogs have been run over the area, but the depth of the hole, I think, prevented a cadaver dog from even coming up with a scent. So it was this would not have happened if Freddie Grant hadn't told them where it was, where she was. And this was the result of the solicitor's office and the Sheriff Lott and them maintaining pressure on Freddie Grant and not blinking and holding fast to what they had agreed to do.
You mentioned that you've loaned a backhoe to get to this body. I mean, one would think, could Freddie Grant have put her body where he put it without some sort of assistance?
Oh, I think he could have, yeah. He didn't do this in 15 minutes. This was quite an undertaking on his part. We use a backhoe because the crime scene has to be dug around it. You can't just dig straight down. We had to dig around it. And the Richland County Coroner's Office, they have a guy who does this, and they're being very painstaking about how to process the scene. So it's being done properly, and I think they're going to be out there for several more hours.
Is the body still here?
Oh, yes.
All right, you were listening there to Kershaw County Sheriff Jim Matthews. His agency called in to assist. Richland County has the lead on this investigation, of course, from the get-go.